All right, the book is Atomic Habits, the author, James Clear. We're talking about chapter 2, and we've broken up this video into 2 segments because there's a lot of meaty content here. So what aspects, if any, of your identity needs to shift in order to build habits that will have a positive impact on your life?
Anjanette, this is a tough question.
Ooh, it is. This is an existential question. And we were discussing amongst ourselves as we prepared for this, and it came to mind. I usually don't think of self, and I've thought perhaps I don't have this very strong self identity. And for me, that there is a fluidity of self. I'm a mindfulness facilitator as well, so I am and I am of. Which allows me to grow and evolve. I always think of myself as, beginning anew every day. It's great to think that, and I know that there are aspects of my personality and character that come through, and perhaps, if someone else were to look in, they would probably have an entirely different view of this. But in terms of identity, I really do agree with James Clear that the most sustainable, easiest, I think he does use the word easiest way of habit forming is to put identity at that centrifugal point around which we form our habits. So whatever habit we're forming, if it is to become a more organized person, I am an organized person. I mean, that puts it in the mind, and I think that it is essential to building habits.
Yeah, for me, this is a difficult question. I think kind of agree with you, Anjanette. Is maybe we don't spend enough time thinking about ourselves. Like who are we? And I'm the type of person that can I want to obviously be able to get things done in a certain way, but over the years, obviously, I realized I need to be more open-minded, be able to listen, and I guess the word that sort of came to mind, and I'm still learning, is to be humble, to be more humble, because there's just so much that I don't know, even though I might think I know, and in the past I might be saying this is how it has to be done, because this is me, it has to be like this. But I'm learning, and trying to be humble and learn from others, like the both of you. So I think that would be the one key thing I would say.
I would say like one of the biggest things that changed in my life, or the thing that in order to help me to build better habits, was to become vocally self-critical. Right? The ability to really look at yourself, look at your faults. That way you can diagnose the specific things you need to change. Being vocally self-critical allows you and enables you and opens you up in order to say to yourself, just using the smoking example, I'm a smoker, I want to stop smoking. Identifying that as a problem, and then I think part 2 of that is actually wanting to do something about it, right? So you can identify the problem, but I think number 2, the second part of that, is actually wanting to be able to change that. And once you have those 2 things in place, then you can then use this book, use the material here in order to make that bad habit or make that habit that you're doing unattractive, and then introduce some new habits in order to in order to change that identity, in order for it to match your new persona or your new personality. But I think the number one thing that you got to change is you got to be vocally self-critical. But so we all are working on ourselves. We're all trying to create better habits. Your identity. Are you who you want to be?
Well, the short answer is I think there's still room to improve.
Yeah.
Right? It's kind of hard to say, I'm perfect now, right? I don't think anyone can truly say that.
Yeah.
I'm sure there are people that think
Yeah.
that, and anyone in our listening audience and viewing audience today, please reply in the comments if you think that you're that person, because yes, it's I think it's also an interesting place to be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And what about you, Edwin?
Yeah, I would say that I'm not necessarily where I want to be. I think we all are striving in order to be better people and to accomplish and realize our goals and build the appropriate systems and or mechanisms in order to accomplish what we're trying to accomplish. But I would say I'm not necessarily there yet, but I think I'm trending in the right direction. I think that because of some of the items in this book that we'll later discuss, being vocally self-critical, changing and being more identity-based versus goal-oriented really has helped to mold my personality and mold my being to the type of person that can get things done and can actually have the success and achieve where I want to be. So I would say, not where I want to be yet. I think I'm trending in the right direction and still working on it every day.
And I want to come back to your point about being vocally self-critical, because I think that's so critical, because you also recognize perhaps an issue, but in tandem with that, coupled with that, is having a solution-based attitude toward it. I think being, unabashedly self-critical, but at the same time also having self-compassion, because we can so often get caught up in seeing something that is an issue in our identity and character and then getting down on ourselves and saying we're a terrible person. And I think that can sabotage any improvement. I think it's also being able to let go of that. So being able to be self-critical, but also not bringing in a level of judgment to ourselves, because we can really start to spiral into negative self-appraisals. And I think that becomes a little dicey. But I think it's so important to be self-aware enough and detached a little bit that, okay, I might have an issue with organization. I know I could keep on coming back to that. But, but at the same time, what can I do, and to take that critical self-look at myself to improve in these micro improvements, atomic improvements that can have big impacts. So I do see, and I don't think that I am necessarily ultimately who I am meant to be, but all of our conversations and reading this book has reminded me, one of my favorite quotes is by Jim Rohn, and he says that success isn't, and I'm paraphrasing, that success isn't supposed to be pursued, that success is attracted to who you become. And through this book and reading it, I think the main message for me is that we are continuously becoming. We are continuously self-improving. And for me, that is a huge weight off the whole habit building as well, that there isn't a set goal, that, it is a continuous self-improvement, learning, unlearning, and with a lot of self-compassion as well.
Hey guys, of course, we are the M3 Collective. Please don't forget to like,
comment,
and subscribe.
By doing so, you'll receive notification when we drop new videos.